Welcome everyone. My name is Sean, and today I want to talk about this Safeway closure in the Fillmore area of San Francisco, because a lot of people are covering this. A lot of people are talking about the reactions from the Black community, from the elderly community, from the civil rights activists in the area who believe that they have a divine right to have a Safeway open at this location that was granted to them by God and codified in the 57th Amendment of the Constitution. However, a lot of people are missing an overall point, making this about theft, when this is actually not really what it's about. It's actually a little bit of a different tale, which I want to get into. But before I do, I want to thank everybody who signed up over on actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Give me the money. Give me the money. Okay?
And thank you to the podcast listeners, Spotify, Apple, and Google's podcasting platform. So first of all, we got to take note of the fact that this ABC News 7 San Francisco local affiliate decided that it was appropriate to entitle this local news segment "Moving All the Blacks Out," because of course, if something closes in a black area, apparently it is targeted at black people and due to evil white racism and the evil white racists, and this is the way that this story is being pushed by the left wing, as somehow evil white racism targeting the black people, making a food desert and all of that. But in reality, in actuality, they're not trying to harm the black people. In fact, you could argue that they're trying to do something nice for them, which again, we will get into. And by the way, I'm not talking about Safeway, I'm talking about the change, what Safeway is going to become in the future. But first, let's get a little bit of a taste of the attitudes of people on the ground.
Critical store. This is like the store for all the elderly in the neighborhood. They can walk over here, there's no stairs, easy in, easy out.
It's not helping the black community, it's not helping the homeless, it's not helping us at all.
Listen, right off the top, I'm gonna maybe go in a little bit of a different direction than you would expect and say that I'm actually quite sympathetic to the elderly population in this particular area who happens to be upset about the fact that their only walkable grocery store happens to be closing, and this is going to put stress on their lives because apparently this functions as a pharmacy and a bunch of other things for the elderly in that particular area. That being said, why Safeway is somehow obligated to help or protect the black community or the homeless population, I don't quite understand. I don't get where that entitlement comes from. I don't understand this, but of course, we're in the United States of America. It's definitely current year, so everything, including a store selling its storefront to a different company, is apparently a civil rights issue that we all need to complain about and whine about and cry about, and that's really the heart of this segment. Me not going after the elderly who are upset about this, but going after the people who are pretending that this is a civil rights issue.
Neighbors in the Fillmore and Western Addition neighborhoods are still angry tonight, saying if this plan goes through, it will have long-term negative implications on the city's black community.
Again, even the way that it's framed and described, it's people who are angry and they think that this is going to have long-term harm for the area's black community. Again, that might be so, but what does that have to do with Safeway's business decisions? What does that have to do with whether or not it's more profitable for them to keep this store open or more profitable for them to sell this to a developer, which, by the way, is supposed to be happening, so that they could build more housing in this particular area? Remember, these would be the same people complaining about the fact that there's not enough housing in San Francisco. They'll say that that hurts the homeless population. We need affordable housing. Well, guess what? Safeway is not shutting down in this particular instance due to theft. Now, to be clear, theft may be a factor in why they're less profitable as a functioning business rather than selling this location, but there's been no indication through my research into this story, despite broad speculation on the internet.com, that the reason they're getting out of the grocery business in this particular area is due to rampant shoplifting or rampant theft at this particular location. What appears to be happening right here is that they were made an offer by another company. They accepted that offer. The new company's going to come in, build some housing, build some storefronts and whatnot. And the neighbors are angry because they think that they have a divine right to a Safeway in their neighborhood.
In less than 2 months, this Safeway grocery store will close, according to executives.
You're gutting it. You're just gutting the neighborhood.
Community members are outraged, saying seniors and handicapped individuals have been forgotten about. Those with Safeway say they have entered into an agreement to sell the 3+ acre site to a real estate company for a mixed-use development project to include housing and commercial retail space.
So right there, just to confirm what I just told you, you can hear it in the report. They sold it to a developer. The developer is going to do some mixed use. There's going to be some commercial, some housing, and all of that. And the reaction from the community, the reaction from the people living in and around this area is really obnoxious and off-putting.
They need to really do things about taking things from the inner city that we need, and then you're developing housing. Housing for who? The homeless? You need to do better than that.
Housing for who? How about housing for whoever they damn well want to have the housing for? This idea that people have become so entitled in this nation that they demand that other people keep their businesses open, reject other offers, and then if something new is going to come in, something new is going to be developed, that has to go and cover their pet cause. In this particular instance, this guy mentions homelessness, is absurd and ridiculous. The city of San Francisco spends tens of thousands of dollars, almost $100,000 per homeless person in that particular city. If you want to get mad at anyone, it shouldn't be a real estate developer trying to develop housing in a particular area or a grocery store selling when that is more profitable than keeping it open and operational in a particular area. You should get mad at your elected officials who are incinerating your money on homeless people. Again, I will bring this story up until I am cold and dead. You will not rip this away from me until something new comes up, something more absurd for the city of San Francisco, because it's that indicative of the problem. The city of San Francisco once tried to build one toilet for homeless people out in public, and guess what? It cost them $2 million, so they abandoned the project. A private company tried to build that same toilet for free, and it cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars to get through all the paperwork in order to do so. And again, this was supposed to be free. So when you have those level of inefficiencies in terms of your city government, in terms of what you're doing for the homeless, don't come crying to me or crying to the local news about how Safeway is not doing enough for the homeless population, about how Safeway needs to keep this store open because the real estate developer that they're selling to isn't providing housing for the homeless. You want to provide housing from the homeless? You want to conscript these different organizations into the government? Maybe straighten out the money and the spending and the waste that the government actually has.
It is a destruction of a community.
And those thoughts from Dr. Amos Brown of the NAACP are echoed by those that live in the Western Addition.
So, those of you who are familiar with my video about the Asian rapper who criticized the San Francisco government should be familiar with the head of the NAACP in San Francisco and how he threatened that rapper for daring to criticize Mayor London Breed. He actually went to his place of business, demanded that he issue an apology, demanded that he took down the video, and then after he refused to take down the video and did apologize, which by the way was definitely the wrong move, he decided to do an hour-long event talking about how evil and racist it was for this citizen to dare criticize the stunning and brave black female mayor of San Francisco, directing hate and harassment towards the business owner who had enough with the city. So when I hear in this next line that they're worried about low-income black and Asian residents,
who believe this will directly impact low-income black and Asian communities,
I'm going to just say that needs to be taken with a grain of salt, because as soon as one of those low-income Asians decides to criticize a black politician, somebody who is elected to serve them, this very same head of the NAACP will show up, try to intimidate them, try to harass them, and marshal the forces of the so-called civil rights class in the city of San Francisco to target them for harassment.
And for London to not even fight for the black community, to have this store stay here for the blacks, it seems like they're just moving all the blacks out.
So you're blaming the mayor on this?
I blame London, because I think London should have done more.
Whoa, lady. Listen up. That Amos guy from the NAACP, he might come to your place and harass you if you start to criticize the mayor too much. Oh wait, you have the proper skin pigmentation. Thank God you're not an Asian woman. Otherwise, he would be cracking down on you for daring to question the hallowed name of London Breed. That being said, the idea that you are entitled again to have this grocery store here, and by the way, apparently they're working on getting another grocery store in and around this area.
Mayor London Breed told our partners at the SF Standard this is a real and rare opportunity to add a significant amount of new homes in this part of our city and even a new grocery store. But plans for a new grocery store have not been solidified.
Now, according to London Breed and the local news report, people are saying that there might be a new grocery store opening up in and around this area, which, by the way, seems a little bit weird that they have to solidify the plans for that grocery store's opening. You would think that a grocery store, if it was sustainable in this particular area, would open on its own. That's how the market tends to work. But apparently, this woman still feels like she's entitled, and the black community is entitled, to have Safeway at this particular location, because again, in the San Francisco Charter and in the United States Constitution, it does declare a right for a neighborhood that has a certain percentage of black population to determine which stores open and how much housing gets put up, because again, that is their divine right as black citizens in the city of San Francisco, and this is in fact a food justice problem. And if you think I'm joking about that, if you think that phrase is made up by me, guess what? It isn't. That's my transition to this clip that we got to listen to.
I'm here to speak about the closing of Safeway. I was deeply angered to hear about the sudden closure because it is not only unconscionable, it is cruel, it is mean, it is disheartening to think that we have to come here in 2024 to defend food justice.
Now look, I gotta be perfectly honest with you. I'm still sympathetic to the elderly. I'm still sympathetic to the people who rely on this grocery store, because obviously with theft running wild in the city of San Francisco, the chances of multiple grocery stores being profitable, or any grocery store being profitable, are extraordinarily low. That being said, this activist is a clown. This activist is ridiculous, absurd, insane. Food justice? Are we serious?
We have to come here in 2024 to defend food justice.
Not to mention, she invoked the current year, like, oh my god, it's current year, and how dare you close a grocery store in a black neighborhood in the current year. Pay no attention to all the businesses that close all around the city and all around the country each and every day. Pay no attention to the businesses that close due to lockdown measures imposed by people like London Breed, like the Democrats of San Francisco. But right here, this is an issue of food justice, grocery justice for the black community. Obviously, the fact that they sold to a developer and they're trying to build all this new housing in this particular area is the product of evil white racism. So cut it out, you evil white racist, with your evil white racism, and give us our Safeway in perpetuity.
She was raised in this area.
Supervisor Dean Preston's office says they reached out to Safeway and the developer to explore the possibility of including a grocery store as part of any planned development at the site.
Now look, I know I said that this story is actually not really a theft-based closure kind of story. The location is being sold to a developer, but obviously theft was an issue at this particular grocery store location if this is them actually walking through an aisle at that store, because look at what is to the left and to the right of your screen as they walk through. Everything in this particular aisle is under lock and key, and stores only do that when theft is starting to run rampant in a particular area, because they have computerized inventory systems and they know what is being stolen off the shelf. And at least for this particular aisle, I don't know if it's true of all the others, that's everything in the aisle. So there's definitely an issue with theft. This community that is demanding so much of Safeway is obviously not treating Safeway with any kind of respect or regard or anything like that, despite the fact that now, after they sold, they feel like it's such a valued part of the community. But it appears that this is just not one of those situations where the driving force behind this closure is theft. This is not a situation where there's going to be an abandoned storefront. This is a situation where a store had a 3-acre property. Somebody thought they could do something better with it, do something more profitable for it, do something that involves building housing and retail space, and they decided to make that sale because the price was right. Now, the fact that there aren't any other walkable grocery stores, I think that is largely due to the character of the neighborhood. That is largely due to theft. But this particular instance, that's not what it's all about. Now look, obviously I could be wrong. There could be more information, more details that I'm just not seeing. So I leave the question out to all of you guys in the audience. Do you think that this neighborhood has a divine right to have a Safeway located at this particular spot? Or do you think that ebbs and flows and changes in particular neighborhoods are normal, and this is just a bunch of NIMBY people NIMBYing super hard and crying racism where it definitely is not appropriate? Again, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you liked the video, then show them by leaving a like. Subscribe for more content. Follow me on my social media. Support review the support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about San Francisco's Safeway crying. Till next time.